Okay, boys and girls, today what we're going to do is talk about area of a circle. So this lesson we're going to break it up into 2 days, but I'm going to do one video. So to figure out the area of a circle, and again, area of a circle is everything, let me just get a bigger marker, on the inside. So everything on the inside of a circle is the area. So this entire thing right here is the area of the circle. So there's a formula, and the formula is pi, which is either 3.14 or 22/7, times radius squared. So you have to find the radius and square it. Okay, so let's start looking at some of these problems. So the first couple, it says find the area of each circle, and we have the first one, we have a radius. So it's going to be pi times r squared. So right away it says to use 3.14, so it'll be 3.14 times, this is already a radius, so it'll be 20 squared. So you can use your calculator to solve that. And when one last note is it's because it's area, you're going to have to make sure that you square your label. So it'll be cm squared for your answer. So number 2 is a little bit different because they give us a diameter. So what you have to do is find the radius first, which is 4. So it'll be 3.14 times 4 squared. Okay, so the bottom, next two are semicircles. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to take 22/7. So it's pi times r squared. So the radius here, because it says 35, you have to split that in half, will be 17.5 squared. And you're going to divide the whole thing then by 2. The reason why you're going to divide it by 2 is because this is a semicircle, so we have to divide it by 2. If you just use this right here, this equation, you're giving me the area of a circle, so you have to divide it by 2. So the next one's fairly similar. They already give you the radius, so it's going to be 22/7 times 56 squared, and then divide it by 2 when you're done. Okay, so for the bottom, it's very similar. It's just that these are quadrants. So this is the radius, is 3.5. So it's 3.14, which is pi, times 3.5. You're going to square it. And then what you're going to do is have to divide the whole thing by 4. And the reason why you're dividing the whole thing by 4 is because, again, it's a quadrant. So you have to divide by 4. Okay, 6 you could do yourselves. Okay, number 7, very similar. You're using 22/7. It's a semicircle, so it's like the previous problems that we had. Problems, what was that, 3 and 4. Okay, number 8, very similar too. They give you the radius, and they also give you the diameter if you add them, but we only need the radius. Number 9 is a little tricky, so I want you to try this one at home. We're going to go over in school, but you have 2 different pizza pies. One is going to have a diameter of 6, and the other one's going to have a diameter of 12. So this one's 6, this one's 12. The first step is, before you do anything for A, what you need to do is figure out the area for each one. After you figure out the area, you're going to subtract them. And then you'll see how much less of an area the 6-inch pizza is. And that'll give you the answer for A. Okay, so this is day 2's homework. So let's just talk about a couple of these. So what you're going to do is, it says the figure shows a circular fish pond enclosed within a semicircular flower bed. The diameter of the pond is PQ, which is 42 inches. Find the area of the shaded region. So what we need to do is basically we're just going to find out, and I'm going to highlight this area we have to figure out in this area. So there's really 2 shapes here that we have to find out the area, and we're going to do some subtraction. So the first shape, and let me just delete what I just did, is going to be the area of this entire figure, which is a semicircle. So figure out that area of the semicircle. Now, PQ right here is 42. I'm going to give you a hint. This is going to be 42, and this right here is going to be 42. So you already have the diameter. The diameter, I'm sorry, you have the radius. So the radius is 42. For this big semicircle here. So it's going to be 42 squared times 3.14. And then we're going to divide that by 2. The reason why you're dividing that by 2 because it's a semicircle. So once you figure that out, that gives you the whole thing. The problem is now we got to subtract this out. So to figure this out, you have 42 as a diameter for that circle. Well, we know that the radius is half that, so it's 21 squared times 3.14. That's going to give you the area for this middle circle. So what you have to do is whatever you got for the big semicircle, you're going to subtract what you just figured out for this circle here, and that's going to give you all the gray part. Okay, so number 11 is a little challenging, and I made a mistake in the previous one. We have to use 22 over 7, not 3.14, because it's from the previous day's homework. Okay, so we have a couple quadrants here. So we have this quadrant, which we could figure out right away, because if this is 21, this is going to be 21. The reason why is because there's a square right here. Let me just delete that. Okay, so I have this semicircle, this quadrant, I'm going to call it 1. So 1, I have, it's going to be 21, because that's the radius squared, times 22 over 7. So figure out 21 squared first, times it by 22 over 7, and then you divide the whole thing by 4. The reason why is because it's a quadrant. That will give you this right here, this quadrant. Now I have to figure out this little area here in blue. And the way to do that is, let me just erase, is to do this. First of all, I have here a square. So if I figure out the area of a square, which would be 21 times 21, that's going to help me. I figure out that area, and let me just get my eraser. What I'm going to do then is I'm going to subtract out over here this right here. This is going to give me, I'm sorry, I drew it wrong, sorry. I'm going to subtract out this white area here of this circle. So this circle, if you look, this circle and this circle are the identical, this quadrant. So if I subtract this quadrant from my square, that's going to give me this gray part right here. And then I'm going to add this gray part with this quadrant, and that'll give me my total. All right, last one at the bottom. So what we have here is really, to be totally honest with you, if you look at it, it's really not that difficult. It's a gigantic circle, because you have a semicircle here, and then you have two quadrants. And if you put these together, what you're going to have is a big circle. So all you really have to do is you have to figure out what the radius is going to be. Now, it's a little bit hair tricky, because what we have here is 15. This is 15, and this is 15. The way I know that is because there's 1, 2, 3 parts. 3 parts equal to 45. So let me just erase that. If you look at it then, your radius for the big circle is 15. So it's 15 squared times, now we can use 3.14, and that's going to give you your answer. All right, number 13. Let me just make it a little bigger. All right, number 13 is what we need to do is figure out this shape right here. But if you look at it, you'll see that we have a big quadrant. Here's the big quadrant right here. So that big quadrant, and then what we're going to do is subtract this circle right there. There's a semicircle, and that'll give you your answer. So the big quadrant, we have is going to be, here's the radius, so it's 18 squared times 3.14 divided by 4. That will give you this entire circle, quadrant. Now what we need to do is figure out what this is going to be right here. So this is a semicircle. So the semicircle, the radius here is actually going to be 9, because this is 18, so it's 9. So it's 9 squared times 3.14, and we got to divide that by 2. And when we do that, what we're going to do then is subtract that from our total that we had before, and that'll give you your answer. If you look carefully though too, is because Let me just show you. You'll notice that this circle, semicircle, it's the radius is 9. 9 is half of the 18. That might help you do it real quick. All right, 14. 14 and 15. I'm going to let you try it at home, see if you can get that. But 14, if you notice in the middle here, if you put these pieces together, that's going to give you a circle. Actually, sorry, 2 circles. So look, A and B together gives you 1 circle. C and D gives you another circle. And that